Maria stood at the airport, her heart pounding in her chest. She clutched her single suitcase, her fingers white-knuckled. Leaving the Philippines, her home, filled her with a fear she had never known. But she held on to the hope of a better life, a chance to support her family. This was her dream, a dream woven with threads of sacrifice and a mother's unwavering love. With a deep breath, she stepped onto the plane, leaving behind the familiar scents and sounds of her beloved country. The flight was long, the hours stretching like an eternity. Maria closed her eyes, picturing the faces of her children. Their smiles were her fuel, their love her guiding star. She knew the road ahead would be arduous, filled with challenges and uncertainties, but she held on to the belief that her sacrifices would pave a brighter future for them. As the plane touched down in the Middle East, a wave of apprehension washed over her. This was it. Her new life was about to begin. The initial days were a blur of unfamiliar faces and a language she barely understood. Maria's employers were strict, her workload heavy. The days were long, filled with endless chores and little rest. Loneliness became her constant companion, a shadow that followed her everywhere. She missed her family terribly, their laughter, their warmth. Late at night, she would cry herself to sleep, clutching a faded photograph of her children. Despite the hardships, Maria persevered. She worked diligently, her determination fueled by the thought of her family back home. She sent money every month, knowing that each dollar represented food on their table, clothes on their backs. She clung to the hope that one day she would return to them, her arms laden with gifts and her heart overflowing with love. One day, Maria's world came crashing down. She was accused of stealing, a lie that cut her deeply. She pleaded her innocence, her voice trembling with fear and indignation. But her pleas fell on deaf ears. She was confined to a room, stripped of her dignity and freedom. Despair threatened to consume her, but Maria clung to a sliver of hope. She remembered the Philippine embassy, a beacon of hope for overseas workers. With trembling hands, she wrote a letter, pouring out her heart, her fear, and her innocence. Days turned into weeks, and hope began to dwindle. She felt utterly alone, lost in a foreign land, her voice silenced by fear and injustice. Then one day a ray of light pierced the darkness. Officials from the Philippine embassy arrived, their faces etched with concern. Maria's letter had reached them. They listened patiently as she recounted her ordeal, her voice thick with unshed tears. Finally, she felt heard, her story believed. The embassy officials worked tirelessly, their dedication unwavering. They investigated the accusations, uncovering the truth that had been buried under a web of lies. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Maria was free. The weight of the false accusation lifted, leaving her emotionally scarred but unbroken. Returning to the Philippines was bittersweet. The joy of seeing her children again, of holding them close, was immeasurable. But the scars of her experience lingered, a constant reminder of the ordeal she had endured. Yet Maria refused to be defined by her pain. She would rise above it, stronger and more determined than ever before. Maria became an advocate for the rights of overseas Filipino workers. She shared her story, her voice clear and strong, inspiring others to fight for justice. She knew that her journey, though fraught with challenges, was far from over. She had found her purpose, her voice and her strength in the face of adversity. Maria's story became a testament to the indomitable spirit of a woman who transformed her pain into a force for good, a beacon of hope for others who dared to dream of a better life.